Nice web.
Got it.
Nice web, Mr. Crack Spider. 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 The web structure was unaffected. Bug spider, Mr. Crack Spider. Nice web, Mr. Crack Spider. The web structure was unaffected. The spider can't go within 100 centimeters of the web. The spider can't go within 100 centimeters of the web. The spider can't go within 100 centimeters of the web. The spider built a web, found the mate, and raised over 100 young. But the mate got a restraining order, and now the spider can't go within 100 centimeters of the web. The spider built a web, found the mate, and raised over... The crack cocaine spider figured building webs was for suckers. Captain Spider was exhausted. Captain Spider.
Hello. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the show.
Oh, Barsky has shown.
Barsky has arrived. Your microphone is off, Barsky. Hello, everyone.
Should be working now. Yeah.
Hello,
I
Jim.
think it's
Hi.
working. What's up, Alan?
What's up, Alen?
Got a little bit of an itch.
Steven, how are you
Oh,
doing?
look how funny you
Doing
are.
well, Jim. How are you?
I'm doing great.
We got a party.
Gordy,
We have a party.
What's up, fellas?
Gotta let the dog out. We'll be right back.
how's it going?
Who?
Well, it's a good time to let the dog out.
I'm out with the dogs.
Steven looks like he's a Baja man.
Nice. What's your pooch's
Yes,
name?
This one is Marmalade. She's
Marmalade.
like 80 years old.
That's awesome.
She's like, no, I think she's 8, 9 years old. She's losing all her teeth, poor thing.
How did you come up with Marmalade?
My daughter named her.
That's an awesome name.
It's a pretty great name.
It's actually my tag name. Black Marmalade is my tag name. So
Oh, sweet. Really? Black
Yeah.
Marmalade? Is that your
That's
70s superhero persona?
Black Marmalade.
Black
Um,
Marmalade.
Yeah, it
in
just
the
sounds so
house.
like bad and mellow and
Sexy.
sexy, smooth.
Yeah. Smooth. We're talking Black Marmalade.
Black Marmalade.
Don't give no fucks given. Black Marmalade.
Yeah, very few fucks were given. Well, I don't know. I gave a few. But there used to be this old
To the right
abandoned.
stuff, hopefully, right?
Yeah, well, hopefully. There was an old abandoned mall that some investors bought it and they were gonna rebuild it. And so they tore everything down like halfway. And then I'm pretty sure they like somebody embezzled some money and they they tied the place up in liens. And it was just sitting like in the middle of town here in Walla Walla, like half torn down, like just sort of vacant, all fenced off for like years. It was just disgusting. And we used to go down there and spray paint stuff all over inside of it and go hang out. And eventually they knocked the it was like there was like a Sears left, like 3 walls of a Sears were all that was left. So you kind of go and like hide out in those like 3 walls and like, drink beer and spray paint stuff. And it was like right in the middle of
It was
town.
your clubhouse.
Yeah, sort of a clubhouse, but super sneaky style. Yeah.
That's fun.
It was pretty cool. And they finally tore it down and built like somebody must have bought it, and they put a bunch of stuff in there. They put like another pet superstore and like one of those stores that has like tons of bathroom stuff, Bed Bath
Beyond.
Yeah. And then like, whatever, a sporting goods store, and there's like a Hobby Lobby, which I never been to one. And when it first opened up, I went in there because I was like, hey, do you guys have like model airplanes and drones? And they're like, no, this is a craft store. I was like, well, I thought it was a hobby store. They're like, not that kind of hobby. But yeah, Hobby Lobby is pretty cool too, for sure.
They do have some cool stuff.
Yeah, I it's easy to get lost in there, just like poking around.
Totally.
And they have like rotating sales too. So like one time I went in there and like pretty much like 80% of their painting stuff was like buy one get one free. It was awesome. So I bought like a bunch of paints and paintbrushes and canvases.
Yeah, all that craft stuff. Like I could totally be a junkie and buy a bunch of shit that I will never use. It'll sit somewhere. I have plans for it someday or whatever, but it just collects, and then you have like, I'm like, hey, what is epicrylic paint? Like, why did I buy that?
Yeah, I'm an ambitious hobby starter and hoarder. It's like,
Exactly.
I've got a great idea. I'm gonna do this, and so like I map it all out in my brain, and then go buy everything, and then be like, all I need is the next Saturday, and I can do it.
Are you an epicurious painter?
I'm pretty epicurious when it comes to as much as possible, I think.
You guys hear about Hobby Lobby having to pay $3 million out because they like smuggled artifacts?
What?
Like biblical, tablets.
Oh, I didn't read it. I saw the headline, but I didn't read it. What was that about?
These clay tablets, I think they acquired them illegally somehow, so they had to pay out. I'm not too familiar with it, but that's what I think of every time I hear about Hobby Lobby and their scandal.
What a bizarre scandal.
Oh, wow.
I think they're religious. I think it's a religious company, so they had some
they're a Christian
vested
company.
interest. Yeah.
Huh.
That's
like
why.
to go to
Wow.
St. Cloud on a Sunday, and I go to Chick-fil-A, and I go to Hobby Lobby, but they're not open, so I go home.
I wonder if they have like a vault somewhere. The Hobby Lobby, like religious.
The Hobby Lobby vault, and they have just one of every type of their hobby things in there. It's like the seed vault. Like
Seed vault.
they got like all the seeds. The Hobby Lobby vault. It's got all the craft supplies.
You bring your skateboard to the Hobby Lobby Chick-fil-A parking lot on a Sunday and have yourself a little festival. It's an open parking lot.
Just you wait and see during the apocalypse when all the craft supplies have been destroyed. That vault will have the models for all the future copies. And kids will never get bored again because of Hobby Lobby. So Just keep that in mind,
Oh,
folks.
thank God. Thank God.
Do you like
Sounds
SnapTight?
great. Oh yeah, I remember those. What is
No,
that? Is that
no,
like
no.
a space station?
The mirror.
Oh, the Mir space station. Oh
Yeah.
yeah. That's rad.
Yep.
Very cool.
It's unopened, so if we want to have a Weaving Spiders welcome charity auction, I'm the charity.
Oh, ooh.
We'll raise money for me.
You gonna auction it off?
What's
That's
the
a great
opening
idea.
bid, boys?
What do those go
Wholesale
for now? They're
price,
pretty collectible.
$3.50. The shelf price is $4.99. This says $2.49. We're gonna start the bid at $449. We're gonna move that decimal point. We're gonna have great expectations.
Yep. Aim high, man. Aim high. It's good. It's good to be
Aim
optimistic.
for the stars.
Yeah.
I
I
want
think
to
that's
go to the
being generous.
stars, and I want to see Doja Cat up there, and I want to see the Weekend.
What?
They got the Weekend in space.
Weekend's gonna go to space?
He's in space. He's a star.
Oh, okay.
He's in a music video.
Zing.
He did a collaboration with Doja Cat.
I
Doja
got
Cat
you.
did a Milk and Kisses Cocteau Twins impersonation where she's a little kitten in a big milk bowl, but now she's actually in the Milky Way for real, CGI in a music video. And it's a symbolic literacy pop quiz for you to try. Have you seen the video?
No,
No.
no.
If you guys would have checked my
What
Twitter
video
feed,
is this?
I warned you on Friday. I said, this is important. This is very important.
My social media failings.
If you guys don't check my Twitter feed and you don't see my prophecies and they come true, I
They come
warned
through and
you.
I missed the
I
whole
warned
thing.
you.
We'll
Oh, man.
go back and check the date
Yeah.
stamp on
What's your
those
ad?
prophecies.
What's your ad again?
Can somebody else say it? Can Stella Moon put it in the chat? I don't want to be accused of self-advertising any more than
Put it in there.
Yeah.
MARCUS 86ED. It's my website. It's my Twitter feed. It's chronological, if you allow it to be. But Steven Sorensen, you're the expert on chronology. What do you think about Twitter making a timeline which is algorithmically adjusted to not be in order of newest to oldest posts?
Yeah, I don't really care for the Twitter timeline too much. I don't scroll through there too much. And the username that you just gave is not one that I would be able to remember off the top of my head. Like, if you said that to me somewhere and I had to remember that, I would not find you on Twitter later. But if it's in the chat, I'll be able to see it and find it. But as far as the Twitter algorithm goes, yeah, I go on Twitter occasionally, but usually it's just to search for posts, and sometimes I'll see whatever post is right there when the screen comes up, but rarely am I gonna flick through that. So I'm not sure how are you saying it's set up, because I pull down the screen, it refreshes it, and it brings me from most recent to oldest on the post, I think.
Well, that's what you think. But that does not prove to be what happens when you go to twitter.com and you're logged in and you have a twitter.com/timeline. And that timeline shifts in real time, meaning you're looking at your computer screen and you see a tweet and you're reading it, but it moves because they've updated it. So it constantly refreshes. And if I don't take screenshots, I lose things. They disappear. They'll have a trending now topic. I'll click on it. It'll give me a page. I'll hit F5, refresh it, and it'll tell me it never existed. And I will say, what? I have a screenshot of this. I will go back to the URL in a different browser. I'll use Tor. I'll use a VPN. I'll try to go back to that page that existed. to find it doesn't exist anymore.
That's
I had that
insane.
happen on Facebook. It was like 30 minutes. I had a video just disappear. Like it never existed. And there was even chat. There was a bunch of chat in it. But for the first 30 minutes, like I got attacked for posting this video. And then it disappeared. Like 30 minutes, it was gone. It never existed.
Was it that video we were talking about the other day?
Yeah. Oh yeah. It was that.
I am looking at Twitter now, and it's my homepage is definitely not chronological. It is out of order. I got a post from 2 hours ago, 3:13, 5. That is not from most recent to oldest. I wonder if it's different on the phone. I use my phone as a webcam, so I can't check right now. But as for the browser, yeah, you are right. It's out of order, and that does bug me. And if I'm venting, I'll quick get in my word about Google's update recently, where they don't allow you to search chronological, like newest to oldest in their books section. Now you have the only temporal element you can add to it is the century. So I can search for 21st century books, but I can't search for most recent to oldest, which is kind of annoying for trying to find new books that are out. But yeah, there's a lot of chronological issues on the internet. A lot of things could be sped up if we were to get better organized, but maybe they do that intentionally because they want people to stay on their apps. So that's kind of like Burning Man. I think they have the time, the way it's all set up is all temporally chaotic. So,
I think that they do it on purpose. They make it frustrating and they make it confusing, and they do it on purpose. Like once you think you understand the way that the apps work, then they change it up. Like all of a sudden there's no warning and they change a bunch of features and then it's like, I'm confused again. And I think they do that on purpose, just to jumble everything, like just to babblize it.
yeah, I mean, they have a lot of people working on it. They make a lot of money, so they have pretty good teams. Biggest social media companies in the world. They're definitely looking to change things up a lot. So, yeah, I don't know. New data, they're taking a lot of information on us, and so they apply that to make changes to see what will work. I would imagine they do experiments, but it's not really my field of expertise looking into how social media companies operate.
Do you have any tips on researching in terms of using web search, maybe not Google specifically, but sorting results to try to find the oldest result, or for example, results before, say, the year 2000?
But yeah, you can. So you're asking methods of finding older stuff, or?
Right. Have you found it more difficult within the last 5 years to, say, find a Google search result of something from a website that was published before the year 2000?
For older websites?
Well, let me give a
stuff gets
specific
taken
example.
off the internet quite a bit. So
right. So we go to Internet Archive a lot for that. Archive.org,
or the Wayback Machine.
archive.is, Wayback Machine. Yeah, so I'm looking for a Margaret Ann Bulkley or a James Miranda Stewart Barry. Maybe they're the same, but I was looking for books written about this person who may or may not have been a doctor or not, but I was doing the research and I was trying to find the earliest mention of Margaret Ann Bulkley, Bulkley, and I couldn't find anything beyond like 1999, but that's to be expected. And then I was going to search.
When is this person around? So you're saying you're trying to find more information on when were they around?
Right. So I have a newspaper here. You'll hear it crumpling. And it says, "The Intoxicating Freedom of Being a Man." There's a new fiction book based on the true story of a 19th century doctor. This novel examines transformation, gender, and identity. So the author
1800s.
E.J. Levy, yes, wrote a book recently about the true story of Dr. James Barry, who was born Margaret Ann Bulkley in 1795 in Cork, Ireland. And I was trying to find documents that would prove the birth of Margaret Ann Bulkley in 1795 in Cork, Ireland.
You said you couldn't find anything before 1999?
That's what I said to search for. I said, show me results before 1999. And it took a while to find them.
Oh, yeah. Well, on the Google search, you can
Did you find anything?
use the tools to search for the custom year range. So you could do from 1800 to 1950 if you wanted to. If you're looking for it right now, you go to the tools and it'll bring up any time or all results, and you just want to put in your custom range there to filter the post for that. And then for all results, you can do verbatim, and that'll bring up stuff with just those words. Or if you want to skip doing that, you can put whatever your search terms are in parentheses, and that'll bring up only posts with what you're searching for. For anybody that doesn't know that.
Yeah, that helps. I bring that up because of the Google search algorithms, as they're not favoring old search results. They're favoring new histories that are being written now to change the events of the past.
Yeah, they're rewriting
Memory
history
hole.
for sure in real time.
Well,
Memory holes in action.
It's the search engine optimization. Newer content is geared specifically towards getting in the top results. And so the newer stuff is going to accommodate for the newer SEO. And it does filter out the older stuff. And, you know, if not everything that's published is progress, but that is the goal, is to progress the corpus of knowledge for a particular topic. So if we're looking into the origins of what the book is about, the doctor that you're looking into, you know, then
Alleged doctor. See, I'm
Alleged
trying
doctor.
to prove or disprove the existence of this person, because you see, the name Margaret could mean pearl, and Anne could be Anana or Anna or Hannah, and Bulkley could also be Bulkley or Buckley. So we might have a Pearl and Bulkley, or a Pearl Buckley, which could remind us of a Tim Buckley, who gave birth to a son named Jeff Buckley, who used the name Moorhead. And we're trying to see if we could establish connections between these people. And if the name is James Miranda Stewart Barry, we know that Miranda was a man who helped this Margaret Ann Bulkley, and Stewart, like the House of Stewart, and Barry, of course, there was an artist by the name of Barry. So when a person named Margaret Ann Bulkley decided that they wanted to try a medical profession, they wanted to pursue higher education, and their gender might have been ambiguous because they may have been born without certain chromosomes, or hermaphroditic, or we don't know. So we begin to do the research into the life of this person, and others have also done research, but we're trying to corroborate what actual documents exist by this alleged person who is alleged to exist. So we're just trying to establish their true existence.
Right.
I love where these conversations go, man.
It looks like there's
wild.
quite a bit on
So
this person.
weird.
So I'm not sure their existence is really questionable. There's
That's a nice one, Jim.
There is quite a lot of stuff just from scanning. I mean, I've been looking just while you've been chatting, but yeah, I don't know if maybe you have information on why all that's doubtful.
Because of the current author, like E.J. Levy, Levy, who's writing a book, or other people who have written books based on a true story. And I mention this because it's my personal belief that they are writing a new legend or a new mythology based on a person who most likely existed, but whether or not they had a love affair with a Lord of Somerset or had some sort of intrigue with different romances, you see how people begin to write a fan fiction based off of the life of an ambiguously gendered individual. And if
that
a
happens with
college, go ahead.
that happens with all of history, though. It's written by whoever. It's written by the victors, right? So every step that we take in society, they're going to reinterpret that mythology or that legend, right? What's that say?
Isn't this book you're talking about fictional though? It just says it's based on a true story.
Based on a true story, but
So it literally is fan fiction, right? Like
that's what we're trying to make clear to the audience here. And if people are reading this
doesn't
book,
make that clear.
And are people confused that they think this is real?
The story is ambiguous as the gender of the individual. That's what I'm saying. And there's a number of books written about this person, and I keep saying this person because is the name James Barrie.
What book is this? What's it called?
The Cape Doctor. It's published by Little and Brown. It's 352 pages by author E.J. Levy. And I just saw this in my newspaper dated June 20th, 2021. Of course, the top says Waves of Doubt. And then they go on to say, do you see the juxtaposition in the newspaper?
Waves of Doubt. Insane.
So we have a story about Waves of Doubt.
And then below that, like the ocean of words below Waves of Doubt is the intoxicating
freedom of being a man.
Wow.
So I just had to share that with you guys. It just makes you go.
It's the memory hole.
Where did you find this?
I found this wrapped up in the end of a driveway somewhere, and I picked it up and thought, newspapers, they still print these things? It might be important. I better read it. I might learn some truth.
What's that on the back there?
What's
the ad?
Do you guys ride electronic bikes? So you don't have to pedal them?
And then is there an ad above it?
Well, in Minneapolis, they have these bikes that you can rent in the Twin Cities. Minneapolis, that's the city of water, where a George Flood was just sentenced a few days ago.
There's water on both sides of that paper.
And then we have, some more news stories about
something
protocols and events and, So it's just bizarre.
God, that's weird. What a weird ass newspaper. Like that's just your local paper?
That's the Star Tribune, the large paper.
Wow.
The metropolitan area of Minnesota.
I don't know the last time I've actually seen a newspaper. I read one. Can't remember.
I think they only still make them because people have bird cages.
Right.
Or
puppies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they need to wrap your fish in something when you go to the fish market.
We never read it. We just have a stack of them. We've just been collecting them. We moved back last fall to the city, and now every Sunday we get a paper on the doorstep. I looked at the comics once. I didn't find them as funny now as I did when I was a kid, but maybe they've gotten worse.
You have a fireplace?
Yeah, we do have a fireplace.
It's nice to have some by the fireplace, for
right. We
Fire
got a
starter.
fire pit too, so we've used some of them. Some of them have been cast to the fire, but you don't need too many sheets of newspaper to start a fire.
You're an advocate of book burning. I'm an advocate of saving paper and saving history.
No, I don't burn books. I just burn newspapers and pamphlets
burn
and
phone
things like
books.
that.
It's yellow journalism.
Yeah,
Paper
nah,
yellow.
no,
so
no
quickly.
phone
Yeah.
books. It's out of my category.
Yeah, I don't have a newspaper, and so every once in a while, when I'm at the convenience store, there's like always this like box with free phone books in it, like a stack of phone books, and I grab like a stack of them, you know, a couple here and there, like just to. I use them by the fireplace, you know, or like I was shooting them at one point just to see how the effects of shooting a book would be and how deep I could get and whatnot at the shooting range.
I followed this guy on TikTok. His whole channel is just him ripping phone books in half. It's just, dude's got some crazy grip strength.
Like the power team.
Power team.
Yeah,
I was just gonna
something
say
like
that.
Already tell us about the power team.
Ooh, the power team were a Jesus group that went around to all the churches and they'd flex their muscles and they'd show how powerful God was and they'd
Public school
convert you
gymnasiums.
and they'd
Family Guy
oh
made
yeah,
fun of them.
public school. That's right. They'd do that all over the place and they'd rip a can in half with their teeth and phone books and what else they do? Oh, the bending iron thing trick.
Bodybuilders for Jesus
Yeah.
Christ.
Yeah, hilarious. I've definitely seen them maybe more than once in my childhood. It was ridiculous.
They have those like hot water bottle things that they
Oh
blow
yeah,
up.
yeah,
What are those?
right.
things?
Yeah, the hot water bottle, the red that you
They're
see
like-
in all the like Laverne and Shirley
It's like
shows
a
where they have the
rubbery. It's
ice
like
on
a
their head.
rubbery substance.
Yeah, it's like a heavy, dense rubber.
Yes, and they'd use their power of their lungs to
Yeah, and to blow it up.
inflate these water bottles, and they'd pop because they. What are you doing? Like the strength of your lungs.
It's hilarious. The strength of Jesus gave it to him.
I'd like to see them go head to head with the Boston Globetrotters.
Oh, I love it when I come back.
Boston
to
Globetrotters?
something interesting.
Is that new?
What's that team of trick shooters?
Harlem
It's all
Globetrotters?
weird.
No. Harlem
Harlem Globetrotters?
Globetrotters, yeah.
I didn't
Yeah,
want
it's
to
Harlem
imply where they
Globetrotters.
were from.
Yeah.
I just know they were Globetrotters. I know they're global citizens.
Oh, you thought it was going to be un-PC to say,
They're global
Harlem?
athletes.
They have the best
Uh,
basketball record of any basketball team in the whole world because they've never lost a game. The Harlem
And
Globetrotters.
the Washington Generals were the losingest team in all of sports because they were paid to lose.
Lose.
Those poor suckers. They were probably
Suckers.
making bank being losers. Professional
true.
losers. That's
There's a
great.
lot of people are making money off of losing these days.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Lots of insurance things I'm seeing. Are you guys seeing that? Like hearing stuff about insurance claims and stuff?
Oh,
Where
No.
maybe it's just me. I don't know.
like on the radio or just you're at the
Yeah.
gas station and you like overhear some people talking.
Oh, yeah.
Did you hear about that new insurance
Right.
policy on the news?
Renters insurance for apartments in Florida.
Right. I'm going to set you up. I got this friend Vinny who works the insurance game, and we're going to shuffle some cards. And
Oh, but you're right. I can't even get to the store without being hassled by insurance guys on the way. I gotta shoo them off my car, shoo them out of the parking lot. People offering me insurance on my tires, on my bumpers.
Jumping
Right.
in front of your car.
Yeah,
As you're driving
seatbelt
it.
insurance in case
Riding
it
those
goes
little
out.
scooters.
Yeah.
People riding their bicycles right in front of your vehicle as it's moving.
really, did that happen to you?
Well, there's a lot of
Insurance
insurance
guys.
scams where cars will purposely drive in front of you and then cut you off and then slow down and then get
Oh,
hit
right.
and say like, "Oh, you bumped me."
That's why you got to get a dash
Yeah.
cam.
Yeah, dash cam.
Seriously, like dash cam. Ever
Yeah.
since I've gotten one of
I
those,
should get one.
whenever anyone is doing like some sketchy driving on purpose, and they see the dash cam, I point to it, they always just go away. It's,
Oh, that's a great idea.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But I like watching those dash cam videos. I don't know if you guys ever go on YouTube and look up dash
I love
cam
that.
violation.
Russian dash
But,
cam
man,
video.
it's crazy. Some
Yeah,
of the,
the
stuff,
Russian dash
some of the
cam.
people out there,
really-
And
like,
You're right.
And the motorcycle helmet ones, those are great, man.
oh yeah, the
I love watching
motorcyclists,
those-
they deal with some
those
stuff on the
motorcycle
streets.
rigs.
Like, geez.
Those guys are crazy.
Truckers, that's another crazy one. Is people just don't understand the physics of a truck. They like try to
yeah.
brake check a truck as if
Yeah.
it's not gonna just crush their car.
Yeah, I have lots of
Mhm.
respect for trucks and buses and things with mass. Because
Also,
tear
not
through.
car crash videos, but like truckers just maneuvering through traffic. That's pretty crazy too. I don't drive trucks, so like seeing someone else do that is like some of the
I got-
some
I
of
got
those
hit by a
turns they make.
bus, a city bus one time. It was, I wasn't like walking or anything, but I was in a van and I was at an intersection in Portland, and I
What
was waiting
color
at a
was the
stop
van?
sign. It was white.
Was there anything painted on the side of it?
Nope,
Like
just
wild
a
stallion.
molestery van,
Blood splatter.
with windows on, with very few windows.
A wizard painted on
Whoa.
the side of it.
Oh, I
Uh,
wish.
Oh,
Yeah,
was it
it's-
you, Alan? Were you
Yeah.
the driver of that van? It was
There's
you,
a-
wasn't it?
There's
You
Oh,
a thing
drove
called-
a
shit.
wizard
There's a thing
van.
called van nationals where people have their vans and they gather together in their vans.
Oh yeah.
And
Mhm.
I always wanted to attend one of these things. I was trying to go last summer, but last summer was not the best time to have a van nationals. Just a bunch of cool people, cool dudes with cool vans, and they've got like art painted, airbrushed on the side of the van. And these people are all over the Instagrams. And there's some really cool van art, and
Yeah.
modified vans and stuff.
Van culture.
Yeah, van
Yeah,
life.
that documentary Van. Have you seen that?
No.
Of the van, those custom van shows? It's like they follow people around that do these like van like 70s shaggin' wagon style shows, and they go around and show all these creepy ass vans,
It's gone
and
mainstream.
people are totally
No.
into it. I can't remember what it's called. It was on Amazon. It was kind of rad.
I might have to watch that.
Yeah, it's pretty
Hey,
great.
I
So
gotta
what
get
happened
going.
to you, Jim? Oh, Steven.
Chat,
Oh,
everyone.
it's good to see you,
chilling.
man.
Yeah, everyone have a good
Good to
night.
see you.
Peace out.
Oh yeah.
Thanks, man.
Thanks for popping in. Yeah, that was nice to have Steven here. So
Yeah.
I was sitting at this stop sign and I was like a little bit over the line, but not much, like maybe a foot over the white line, but it was
Pedestrian line.
the line that you stop at the stop sign, there's like a piece of tape on the ground.
Oh yeah.
But I
Mhm.
mean, the sidewalk continued past that, 4 feet. And then there was like, the parking section on the side of the street. And then there was like a bicycle lane. And then there was the road that the bus was driving on. And the bus was like, I was just sitting there at the stop sign and the bus comes like barreling down the street. And it was so close to the curb and it just hit, like swerved into my van, knocked the van like 4 feet over to the side because the bus just has so much momentum and mass to it. And she like
Wow.
drives all the way down to the corner and then stops and then gets out and she's like, you ran into me. She was all mad. And I was like, whoa, like I was sitting there, but like, whatever. She's like, I have cameras all over this van and you ran into me. Like all pissed off because I think she was worried that she was going to get fired or something.
Yeah. I
But
bet.
yeah, they had video that the insurance company, I had an insurance company. It was a business van, so it was insured. But they had the city show us the videos, and she just like swerved right, into the freaking thing. Like it was like right
No
on
way.
almost seeming like, but like I don't know
Wow.
what she was doing.
Is that van
she
required
get
to stop
fired?
at all railroad crossing?
What's that?
Is the van required to stop at every railroad crossing?
No. Well, I'd like to stop and lay down sometimes, but
Take a rest.
it's not required. But yeah, they had to pay for everything. It did quite a bit of damage to the van.
Oh, did it? Wow.
Yeah, it kind of like wrecked my
Were you-
plan. I was gonna go one way, and then I got hit, and then it totally changed the whole rest of the day. It's a turn of events. Like I had to like, I couldn't even drive it. Like it was messed up. Like it bent the whole front end. So, the one wheel was pointed to the side and stuff. So I ended up like hoofing it on down to this bar after the cops came, and started, had a beer and waited for my ride or whatever, waited for the next plan
Wow.
in the situation. But yeah. And I
How did you
started,
recover from that?
oh, it was fine. I wasn't injured or anything, but I started
You're
doing some
wearing your
research,
seatbelt?
and the bus, like those buses in Portland kill like a shit ton of people. Like there was like 25 or 26 deaths in like 3 years in Portland from it was between the buses, and they have a light rail, like a light rail train. It's called the Max, and it goes like, north and south from on the I-5, like I think it's pretty big now. Like it'll go, I'm not sure if they were going to connect it to Seattle from Portland. It's probably connected by now, but
Like Chicago has the L trains, and Atlanta has a lot of monorails like that.
yeah, it's cool. When I was a kid, they moved it out. So like I lived out in the suburbs, sort of like I lived a ways out. I lived probably 25 miles outside of town, and it didn't quite go that far when I was a kid, but they moved it to like the adjacent city, like pretty much like it's city sprawl out to the, everywhere that the city sprawl was from Portland, they had this thing going. And I remember talking to, when it first opened, I was talking to this old man. He was a driver, and I guess he was driving it since they first made it. And I think he was like getting near retirement age. And when I was talking to him, and he said that when it first opened up, that like people used to put blasting caps on the rails, and they would hit these blasting caps and it would just explode and the whole thing would rock on its sides.
Oh, no.
Yeah. I asked him about pennies. I asked him if people put pennies on the rail, and does the train, does the light rail, flatten a penny? And he's like, no, they don't hit, it doesn't flatten them, but it makes a big sort of bang, and it jerks the car and it shoots the penny off most of the time. But yeah, I guess the blasting caps thing was kind of an interesting thing.
Is there like gunpowder in it?
It's like a
Yeah.
yeah.
They're
Black
they're
powder.
they're like a M80 kind of thing.
Yeah, like a
It's
quarter.
gunpowder.
Yeah.
Well, we are approaching the Big Banger Day, where people start lighting up everything and making lots of noises. And we were talking about
Oh,
that
yeah.
in the
Hey.
chat, the Telegram chat.
Hey, I got something, Alan.
Mhm.
Do you guys see that news story about us getting a second Statue of Liberty?
What?
Okay, so fuck, I saw it. I meant to save it. I should have just search it.
Post it on your Twitter feed, please. It's the only
Yeah,
way it becomes news.
it was the weirdest thing. Like it was a news story about how France gave us another another copy of the Statue of Liberty, and when they put it in, I can't remember where, like Philadelphia or something. I don't remember.
I mean, back in the past, there was another copy of it.
No,
No,
I
no,
see
no.
it. June
No, it's
20th,
new.
a second Statue of Liberty is on its way to U.S. courtesy of France. The new statue, being loaned by a Paris museum to cement Franco-American friendship, will be a scaled-down replica of the original and will stay in Washington, D.C., where it will stay for 10 years as a symbol of Franco-American fellowship.
Wow.
Man, that is some serious Columbia, what is it? Columbia goddess?
The
Archetype shit.
Sirius is another link.
Yeah.
But it may just be Mithraism.
It could be.
Mithraism, yeah.
Or
Mhm.
even Lucifer.
Mhm.
There's a lot of
Oh, right.
with her being a male, or
And the
you
torch,
know,
the bringer of light.
Well,
yes,
that brings us back to a Margaret Ann Bulkley or a James Miranda Stewart Barry and
absolutely.
the ambiguous genitalia of a Statue of
Mhm.
Liberty. And again, with this history, to put a fair point on it, I may be playing dumb, but I have to play dumb because I want someone to tell me how to interpret this history and what are your sources when you're writing historical novels based on a true story. And it's okay if you want to write your own Little Mermaid story, but if you don't cite the original source and you say it's your original work based on a true story, we sort of lose that chronology of the authenticity of the story, because authors build their story upon the stories of others. And if they act like there was no written record existing before, then that does us all a disservice when we're trying to locate the provenance of a specific document. And there's a doctor who was trying to claim that this Margaret Ann Bulkley or James Barry existed as one person by a letter. So they're trying to say that a letter was sent and they tried to examine the handwriting between these two people and the addresses, and they're trying to establish a timeline of a person's life, and other people were playing a little more fast and a little more loose with actual historical pieces of paper. I mean, literally handwritten notes and letters with delivery dates and stamps and postage paid. And they're trying to conflate their own ideas of what a gender situation looks like now, and they're trying to backdate it, 200 years to a situation that existed then.
I have a theory about this phenomena. Just like the memory hole is, it's sort of the babelization, the confusion of history, the messing it all up. It goes kind of hand in hand with the Mandela effect as well. And I think that not only are they changing things in digital stories, but also manufacturing antiqued looking books that never existed in the past, but do exist, modern, printed them, making them look antique, and then sneaking them out into.
Jim, are you suggesting forgeries and forged documents made today could be backdated 200, 300, 400, 500 years?
Exactly.
Move a history.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
The last.
I'm not convinced of the Nagamati, dude.
Oh, really? The Nagamati.
I'm sorry. I'm not convinced that isn't a forgery. That it's not an original. There's a lot of sketchy shit that happened in that the handing off of the kid who found them in the clay pots or whatever, and because they were holding them for using them for like fire. Is the legend that we're told that this happened, right?
Yes.
Can you guys hear me?
Like, and you can hear it.
We
You
hear
can
you,
hear the
Barsky. Welcome back.
mythologizing
Okay,
happening. Like they were just throwing them all away and using
Thank you,
them as
buddy.
firewood because they had no, like they didn't know what they
Yeah.
had, and
And it was cold.
bullshit. Right? Yeah, man. Like you can hear the magic happening as they're writing it.
Yeah,
That's why I
exactly.
keep bringing up the Barry story.
If anything, they would have kept it to sell on the antiques trade. Those Bedouins aren't stupid, you know, like
They're not stupid. Yeah, exactly. That shit's been floating around the antiques market for generations.
yeah, and they're not going to be hard up like us if we go camping. They wouldn't forget the firewood. They've got themselves covered, you know. They look ahead and they wouldn't be like, oh no,
They have to.
we're out of firewood. What are we
When
gonna
they're-
do? Well, let's burn these things that we don't know what they are because we're dumb Bedouins.
Yeah, no,
I think it was-
those people are geniuses, and they
Yeah.
live off practically nothing. Like out there in the desert, not nothing. I mean, they've got a lot of things, but they use their resources. When a culture has to grow up like that, you know, they become experts at their resources. They're not going to be
Yes.
burning antiques.
Can I
That's
teach you
not-
guys how to forge a tweet?
Oh,
What was that?
we're gonna learn hacking skills today.
You can learn how to create a forged tweet or a web page if you save the web page and you view the source of the web page,
Source
the
code.
HTML code.
Yeah. Oh,
you
yeah.
can change it. And when
Right.
you reload it in your web browser, Twitter, whatever it is, and then you take a screenshot of it, you can change the text of any tweet and you share a screenshot and you say, this is the proof that our president tweeted this tweet or our favorite
Genius.
celebrity tweeted this. Yes, I am a
Oh,
genius
shit.
and I can prove
I'm gonna
an
start doing
alternate
that.
history, right?
Oh man, you guys are already. I could see Jim's little marbles running. He's like,
Yeah.
oh, I'm going to rewrite history, man.
Yeah.
This is going to be so fun.
This is gonna be
So I got
awesome.
a question, like when John McAfee mysteriously dies in a Spanish prison while the head of DHS is in Spain, ? Nothing strange about that. And I have a picture, a screenshot of a tweet. And I can say, this is the real tweet, and I can share it in a Telegram group, and we can have a whole conversation about the Department of Homeland Security of America, of the USA, going to Spain. And while he's in Spain, a man named John McAfee, is that his name?
John
Dies
McAfee.
mysteriously in a Spanish prison.
Yeah.
And
Did
you
you?
can add DHS Gov on Twitter and say, hey man, can I get some proof of some plane tickets to know that this DHS head leader is actually there? Or if someone says that they are dead, can we prove that that person's dead? Do we need to see an autopsy video to believe it?
Well, it's hard to prove someone's not dead. Or is it hard to prove someone's dead?
Well, if someone's alive, hello, I'm alive. It is 1:13 a.m., 6/27/2021. I am at Marcus86. I am alive. I am not whacked. I don't have any tattoos on my arm.
You know, we might have just done this earlier, and I changed the HTML code of this video so that
Can we
Seems like-
establish that David Barsky is alive right
You
now?
gotta change the name. You gotta change the name of
I
it.
don't know.
If he's in the
When it's-
box
He
when the
must be
stream is
alive.
uploaded.
or
I
dead
will.
right now.
I'll use
Yeah.
the HTML
I've
code.
got
and
no
change the
mind
name.
or
Yeah, right.
anything, so I don't know if I'm being heard.
Zing.
or if I'm
Barsky,
alive.
we hear you.
Am I
Your voice is
alive?
real quiet. Let's all mute
How
and listen to
quiet?
Barsky.
How quiet is my voice? Like super quiet?
It's can you can be louder.
What about now?
Nope. Worse.
Not louder. What about
That's
now?
Better.
All right.
That's worse.
That's worse? Okay. Just
That's
making
better
sure.
now.
Okay.
We're trying to establish
let's-
that you're alive and someone isn't using a voice
I
changer.
I did hear, and I am a voice changer. Let's see if that's working. Apparently,
Hey, we see
it should be
a
working.
David
Hey.
Barsky.
There he is.
He's alive. Establishing that he
actually-
is alive.
Actually, I'm not.
Ski. Welcome
Because-
back, buddy.
This is from the grave. I recorded this actually at 1:15. 0:15 a.m. Officially on June 25, 2021.
How does he keep getting away with it?
This was Friday morning. This is Friday morning, June 25th. I don't know who's joining the show for Saturday. I mean, tonight's right now show. So I'm assuming it's Jim.
Is he
I hope
joking?
it's Jim. I hope.
Yeah,
I
we're
hope,
doing it right now.
Now, now he's
yeah.
creeping me out, man.
All right. See. All right.
It's
So I'm here.
No.
I didn't see that.
what
'cause
time
I
is it?
forgot to
Busy.
change the ATML. Sorry, guys.
I was busy looking at I was busy looking at the top of my coffin. I'm trying to ring this bell. Doesn't appear anybody's hearing it. I'm
I
pulling the
missed
string.
it.
Nobody's-
Light saving time.
So it's easy to prove that it would be easy to prove that I killed someone, but it would be impossible to prove that I didn't kill someone.
Well, go wait. What? Expound on that just a tad.
It'd be really hard to prove that I didn't kill someone.
Okay, so that's you're
Like
implicating.
I haven't killed anyone, but how do I prove that?
Okay, I
Yes.
just want to make sure you got that out of the
Impossible.
way. Okay. That's a fantastic question, and it's too bad we don't have Who would that be? Who would we need to tap for that? Like that Alphonse guy that always goes on Crow 777, talking about who writes all the affidavits to get out of
Oh yeah.
being a
So
human being.
He didn't he do a
essentially.
thing about how to disappear? Didn't he write a book about how to disappear from your or wipe your identity or something?
I don't know if he wrote a book about it, but I know that he's pretty savvy at getting out of like very sticky situations when it comes to the law. But it seems to be like more petty, in my opinion, pettier things like traffic tickets and the sort.
Who
you
wants
know,
to pay a
like-
traffic ticket?
Exactly, but do you want to really
Yeah,
like nullify your citizenship in the process? You know, like I
Well,
understand.
Not
the
necessarily for
the
traffic
ideal-
tickets, but if it's the everything of traffic tickets and like like if you have a house and you want to prove that your house, like there's a guy that he was talking about how there's a way that you can address your mail and it makes your address into a post office. So once you have mail that's people are sending to you and it's the way that it's addressed, it's legally considered a post office and it's verified because it's gone through the federal mail. So it's federally verified that your house is a post office. Then you become the postmaster general.
Yeah, but I believe.
And
in the
then
process.
because you're the postmaster general, you are a federal officer. So you can use this
It's become like a
because
Pinkerton.
you're a federal agent. The postmaster general is like one of the highest
right.
federal agents in the whole land. Once you become a postmaster of your own post office, then you become a federal agent and you have you can prove that you're the federal agent because you've got a document that was addressed to you, the federal agent of the post office, then you can get, all kinds of stuff. Like
But
the
there's a
idea, like you want to eventually get your home considered a freehold, so it's not part of the United States, and then you get a.
But then you're screwed when they decide to invade your little country.
No,
because they've had.
You can't, well, I mean, you would get a different. There's a different.
Hey, are you guys hearing that?
Passport. It's a green passport, and it's
Sounds like an air raid siren here. Sorry.
No, I didn't hear it.
You're essentially you are a dignitary. It's a dignitary passport, or it's a diplomat. It's a diplomatic.
Okay,
passport.
so
Diplomat,
let me
right.
ask you where you discovered this information. A, is this human being alive still that claims this? B,
Last
hold on.
time I emailed with here, he sent me an email where I was supposed to meet up with him and talk to him, but it didn't work out. But he's still alive.
Okay,
His name's,
now, careful, because it doesn't probably. It's
he's a
not
guy
probably.
that he was teaching people how to do it, and then he got contacted
Yeah.
by the FBI, and they told him to lay off.
Stop. Yeah, because you literally, from what I understand, there's a number of horror stories where when they do find these people do finally declare like their sovereignty or whatever, it becomes like your worst nightmare.
Well,
because
only if you don't
literally-
do it right. If you
Well,
don't do
you know
it right, then you open yourself up to, you have to have a complete understanding of the agency of your
right,
agency.
and
Your
that
own
would essentially
mutually
be the
assured
not to
destruction. You cancel
not-
yourself out.
right, and not to be like that, not to get Alan like too big
It's
of a
not
boner here.
necessarily
It's a
canceling
Bible,
yourself out.
but
That's
the
that's
Bible's
that's the misconception. That's the wrong way to do it. That's the way where like they'll take your
if
clothes
you
and they
F
say
it
you
up
can't
is what I'm
use-
saying.
They say you
It's
can't
really
use money.
easy to FO. Right,
like,
it's
'cause
really easy to screw that up though.
But
Like,
that's not the right. Yeah, that's not the right way to go about it. The right way to go about it is just to be separate and outside of the system while still using the system.
you play the game still, yeah.
Like this guy, he's essentially he doesn't have he has insurance, but he doesn't have registration on his vehicle because he owned it outright. And there's a way when you buy a vehicle, if you own it all the way out, then you don't have to register it through the state. You can register it yourself.
Right. That's the licensing of the use of the motor vehicle. That's why you get pulled over and they say license and registration, please. And you say, I don't, please. Have a nice day. And you drive away. And then what happens?
Yeah.
You get
And
shot.
then and you
if you're
don't ever
black.
acknowledge that you're
Yeah.
there or you were there. You say
Right.
like, I am right here. Like I'm not driving.
But you don't
know?
claim your name, right? Like you don't claim your government
get to make
slash
up your new
Christian
name.
slash
You don't
yeah.
you don't use the all caps name. Like basically like you have your birth certificate, which is when you're born, your parents get tricked into signing this paper.
Jim, you have
says-
a capital J in your name right now. Maybe you want to change that to lowercase j. Like I am Alan Marcus, all lowercase.
Unless, yeah, that's a good point. But I haven't declared anything yet,
But
But
is that one of those things about changing your name that you reclaiming a new name from your birth certificate kind of thing?
It's like wearing a straw hat and being a straw man.
yeah, you say you reject the agency with these other agencies, and you reject the agency with that entity that was created legally when your parents fraudulently signed this paper.
Right.
Like, basically the state is like, hey, we found this baby, like, or it's like saying
It's your certificate of live birth.
It's a certificate of live birth. You're a foundling.
Yep.
When the paperwork is filled out, your parents are saying, "Oh, there's a foundling,"
Found
and
lost at
the
sea.
state says, "Oh, well, I guess you're granted, like, we'll let you take care of him because he would belong to us, the probate court."
In the delivery room, when your mother births you to the channel and you're born, and you have your body and you have your umbilical cord and there's the
Nautical law.
water and all of the other amniotic fluids and stuff, and you don't claim all of that. Someone else claims that and sets up a claim on that property.
Corporation. Yeah, right.
You got to read these books, the Black's Law Dictionary, and like every single edition, because they change.
It's
Yeah.
like
And
36 laws of power.
Mhm.
Sorry, go ahead.
this is the first edition, and they change the definitions of words. Like
Right.
from the first to the last, they've totally freaking changed almost everything, I think. But it's all still legally valid. So what you want to do,
Because there's
in
a
a contract,
precedent in the
yeah,
first
look up-
edition.
look up every single word in a contract, look it up in a dictionary, a legal dictionary, and like every edition of the legal dictionary, and then also like an English dictionary or
The
an
Bible's important too.
English legal dictionary, and the Bible as well. The Bible is also part of it because
That yeah,
Bible's literally a book of law.
it is the book of
Yes.
law
and it's
essentially.
the
Yeah.
original. Yeah, exactly. So pretty
Clint
crazy.
Richardson. We need to have Clint Richardson on the show and discuss this. I guess.
Well, that'd be
Want to
cool.
have Clint Richardson on the show, and that other guy. Who's that stoner guy with his name is Seth something. He was in Freaks and Geeks.
So I
I
just
should
opened this
know.
up to and infusion is the word that I in my Black's Law Dictionary, first edition. I'm going to read it. Infusion in medical jurisprudence, the process of steeping in liquor, an operation by which the medicinal qualities of a substance may be extracted by liquor without boiling. Also, the product of this operation, infusion and decoction, though not identical, are
The cock's on my god. Oh my
As-
god, Cadillac.
as Judeum generis in law. So infusion and decoction.
Decoction.
How do you spell decoction?
Yes, what is-
DECOCTION.
Okay. Seems about right.
What is that? I've never heard that word
that's
before.
a great question. I haven't either. I don't know. You can look that up here.
You
I
guys
can look
think
it up.
that Margaret Ann Bulkley was born with a decoction situation and became
Yes,
famous
Zing.
right.
There you go.
very
There you go.
later on. I don't know.
You just redeemed
She
yourself.
may or may not have. She's got Schrodinger's penis. Or maybe there, maybe it's not. We don't know. 'cause
See, yeah,
we just
right.
made this shit up.
Schrodinger's
Yeah.
chromosomes. Sometimes they're X, sometimes they're Y. You don't know.
So like when I heard, because I could hear you guys still once, whatever, the Bluetooth, and I was like, where's Alan going with this? Because it sure sounds like, I was like, geez, man, you're reaching on. And then all of a sudden the fact that you had a newspaper article, I was like, thank God. I was like, that's really actually crazy and really brilliant. Because it literally sounded like you were just like upset with like a transgender situation or something. And I was like, man, what is wrong with Alan tonight? I'm just, it's like, shit,
What
dude.
was wrong with me a week ago, Sunday morning? When we
Exactly.
were having our desert sessions. We're hanging out.
That's
You were
called
real
just
mellow.
vibing.
Yeah,
That was
well,
good.
You were so relaxed and so accommodating and teaching me so much, and I was learning so much, and you were showing me real music.
It was beautiful,
what
wasn't
real
it?
Music sounds like.
I'm so creeped out.
And then I started
So
talking
creeped
about
out right now.
this Catholic revival happening in the
I'm
next
really-
town.
I
And
need
I
a
got really
shower.
upset about
I
this
just got really
Catholic revival happening. I
Ugh.
got really irrational in my voice, and I was just getting so angry and irritated by the fact that this town, which is a Protestant Lutheran town, not a Catholic
Protestant
town,
Lutheran infestation. Sorry.
In Minnesota, we are Swedish and Norwegian, and we are not at all Roman Catholic.
We're
So I
Danish
don't
here
know.
in Wisconsin. So
Yeah, no. They serve lutefisk in the fellowship hall of the churches.
careful.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be so impressed if Alan brings this around to people getting hit with buses. Come on, let's do it, Alan. It's a challenge.
We're not rushing anything.
So it's
Wait, what is going on? with
pronounced
buses?
coction.
This isn't a Russian Orthodox church. We are good Protestant.
I'm into.
We are
that, actually.
into the Reformation. There's no Calvinism. This isn't a Calvin Klein jeans situation here. We are.
You're
Puritan.
really whispering, aren't you? Like who are you? Who are you hiding from?
He's trying to spin this
Who are
this
you hiding
bromance
from,
thing
Alan?
going on here.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, what is it? What's the
creeping me out again.
DSMA or whatever it's called? The
Oh yeah,
yeah,
the ASMR,
MR, yes.
ASMR, BDSM.
there you go.
That stuff's creepy, man.
It is.
When-
I
when-
don't care.
They
It
lick your
creeps me
ears.
out.
It is. I remember the first time when I heard that Ed was shown those videos, and I was just like, "Who?" I think it was on like a Netflix documentary in like 2018, maybe
Yeah.
or something. I was like, "What is this?
Shave and eat
why?" Ugh.
I once made an
Yeah.
ASMR video explaining how ASMR is absolutely a sexual thing
Yeah.
because there's an intimacy to it,
How
and
is
you
it
cannot you cannot separate the intimate aspect of the whispering and the tingles and the feeling you get in your stomach.
Oh, stop it! Stop!
Yeah,
Oh my
it's
god!
it's really gross and
Ah.
embarrassing to listen
is.
to.
What is that word for like the body sounds? Like if you hear someone
Ugh.
eat, like it's
Oh yeah,
it
misophonia.
creates misophonia.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Yeah,
such a visceral
dude,
feeling.
I have that so hard. Like when people like are in another table eating, and I can hear the
Ugh.
want to kick a kitten, man.
I like that.
There's a lot of people killing
do
kittens
like that.
watching Twitch streamers doing ASMR things.
Speaking of Twitch,
Yeah.
we gotta get we're
They
getting
have
our
pet
Twitch
insurance.
channel
It's a
launched.
fetish. We're doing this wrong. We're doing this really wrong.
We absolutely are. And the Twitch channel, we're gonna have it launched by next week. We should have the Twitch channel launched. I'm not even
Oh,
joking.
cool.
Yeah, why
Nice.
not? Why not? Right? That's where all the kids are.
I
I
hope
mean,
that
the
they have pet insurance.
hipsters are on Twitch.
Will you all agree to not wear a shirt when we stream on Twitch?
Yes.
Are we doing a nudity episode?
I'm gonna get a inflatable
Yeah,
hot
just
tub
just a
for
shirtless.
for
We
sure.
will support
Inflatable hot
the
tub.
Breathe the Nipple movement by moving to Twitch.
I'll take my shirt off right now.
Show how many
Uh,
piercings we have
We can body paint ourselves.
and see what kind of piercings that Barsky has.
I have zero. I really have zero. I've got tattoos, but not piercings. So
Oh my god, my stupid buddies in the '90s are getting their nipples pierced. What the and these guys
dude,
were
I have
fucking
friends
Marines.
got PA
I'm
pierced.
like, what
like,
the fuck happened to that guy?
Prince Albert's?
Yep, my buddy.
What? Oh,
shout out to
right.
Mark. Shout out to Porter. What up, Mark? He's got his PA. I don't know if it's. How would you undo that? Like, who else? Yeah, I'm giving names right now. These are people that play instruments in or have in bands.
They're
That,
loud
Yeah,
No.
that's how I know all of them.
Play with their instruments in bands.
There's a
Christian
tribe
bands at
of-
that.
there's a tribe of
Sorry.
some sort of folks somewhere, I think like Africa, and it's like sort of a coming of age ceremony where they pierce the penis and make a hole along the urethra shaft, like halfway up. And
Oh God.
what the idea is that they know It's so they can tell when they're having intercourse for the first time because it makes a whistling sound
Oh,
as they do it,
my
and they all like, then they
What?
know that
Whistle,
they're
you work.
whistle while you work. Yeah.
Yin
whistles.
Yang Twins whistle while you twerk, baby.
I forget what it is. I'll have to look it up and see if I can find it. It's bizarre. It's a very small tribe. I don't even, like
Tribe
people
of
that wear like
Judah.
grass
Judah.
skirts and stuff.
Huh.
Like, unless that's just a totally made up piece of history that I heard.
Could
That happens.
We know Prince Albert had a piercing. Were there any presidents of the United States of America that might have had to discuss their intimate details, their cigars?
Pusa.
Remember
The
that?
band. The band.
Bill Clinton, right?
I love that band. By the
Talking
way,
about his
underrated.
What did he say? I did
humiliation.
not have sex with that woman.
Right, and then Jeffrey Epstein
With his
talking
finger.
about the shape of his outward ovaries.
Yeah. Good old egg. Good old egghead.
Jeffrey Epstein and
Yeah.
Weinstein too. He was
Oh yeah, he's got it.
intersex. Remember that?
We see. I don't believe that, but I mean, like we heard he's got a very
it's in the
Johnson.
court. Apparently, in the court records, the woman who accused him of some things, she said that she got cornered in the bathroom with him, and he was naked, and he was, masturbating, and her friend like was on the other side of the door holding the door shut, and she said that she couldn't tell if he had testicles, and that it looked like his penis had been removed and then sewn back on, or he looked intersex, is what
So
she
he's
said.
got a micro penis then.
That's the big red flag in the James Barry story for me. This man was said to be a military man, and the military men, they have examinations, they shower, and they see each other. So for this person, this individual, to put on this persona to say that maybe I was a woman, but I dressed as a man and I was in the military so I could become a surgeon. No one's like asking the question, how do you join the military without having a full inspection?
Isn't there a doctor-client privilege, or does your autonomy in the doctor-client privilege go away when
In the military, you don't have any privacy.
Yeah, you
So
waive
how does
everything.
a person with ambiguous genitalia enter the military and fulfill the service of the military without
Look, if you think about it though, at the time,
maybe it was
who knows? At that time, we have no.
hermaphroditic?
Yeah, and I mean it's not common clearly, but
Or
the
maybe
same documentary on Netflix. Sorry, Jim. The same documentary, real quick, on Netflix I was watching that was talking about the ASMR, had an episode where they were in Germany, and they were examining like the not transgender but hermaphroditic situations where people were born with both sets of genitalia, and they were questioning doctors who were performing, like basically deciding their sex, you know what I'm saying, of the individual by removing said set of genitalia, right, at birth, like right away after birth, right, like within an amount of time, like not immediately, like, oh, let's chop the foreskin off type shit, not that quickly, but within an amount of time where these people would grow up, let's say, like with more testosterone, right, than estrogen, if you will. They like had an Adam's apple, you know what I mean, like type, or you guys see where I'm going with this, right? Like more male than more X than XY or whatever it is.
Right.
I'm botching that up, but regardless, and they were frustrated at the fact, like resentful to their parents, I feel like, for making that decision, and the doctors for even performing that. But then at the same time, like, can you imagine being a parent and having to make a decision like that, a snap decision at that?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, I can't imagine.
Rumor has it that Jamie
Let it
Lee
right
Curtis-
out as far as you can.
right. I would think like that's something where you literally are like, I can only I'm not a father, but if I putting myself in that position would be like, well, let's see how you feel about this. You know what I mean? And when you make a decision,
Yeah.
I trust you'll be comfortable to a degree with that decision. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
So-
I mean, that's got to be a lot of discernment with the kid too.
Right.
But
You
man,
can't
like,
can you imagine like
you
pushing them in
don't,
and
you
then
don't want to
growing up in a time
force
like
that.
this too, right? Like
Man,
now
you
where
could
it's
fuck
literally
somebody.
like
That's traumatic. That's
Ex-
traumatic to a person.
absolutely, and think about the trauma they've gone through, or
Already.
went through that at such an early age, like doing a procedure like that and having no recollection, and you know what I'm saying, like how traumatic it is for males.
Oh, it's still there.
To have the
That shit
circumcision
stays
process.
forever.
Exactly. So my heart goes out. My heart aches for like those cases. It really does. It's just like, damn, dude. And it puts a whole nother whole nother spin on the whole transgender thing too, where it's just like, dude, you can't just it's baby bathwater again. You can't just like, not every case is as cut and dry as you may think it is. So fuck off. We really don't have any business, even, which is why it's so ludicrous too for the government to just come in and start making, trying to make decisions for people, or not decisions for people, but you know what I'm saying. Yeah. So I don't know. That made me think though. That made me stop and think, because I was like, what is this propaganda Netflix is putting out? And then I was like, oh, this is actually brilliant reporting. Like for once, like actually good journalism to to frame it in such a manner. It's like, dude, can you imagine?
What's that thing called?
Fuck. I have no idea. I'll find out though. And
Will you
but
tweet
it
it
was
for us? We can retweet it.
sure. And it was it was Netflix. It was about 2018. 90%. Yeah, it was 2018. Summer of 2018, because it was the same year I discovered Church of the Cosmic Skull. So yeah, that was 2018. Summer of 2018.
That was when I discovered them. That was it the church, them going through the church video?
Yeah, with the documentary, like the like mockumentary thing, where where it's hilarious. It's so good.
That was great. That's how I found them. I was like,
and
what
they're
the
all
hell is this? This is rad.
Yeah, one of them's like a great filmmaker, and like man, shout out to Bill Fisher. He's been super kind throughout the whole thing, because I remember discovering them and them saying, we'll personally get back to you via email if you email us. And I was like, let's test this theory. And bam, within 24 hours, it was just like, bam, Bill. And I was like, regards, Bill. And I was like, okay, let's see. Yeah, what MailChimp, sir, you know what I mean? Like, what is this? So I remember like personally being like, yo, my friends are on the same record label you guys are on. Da-da-da-da, you know what I'm saying? Like, because there was randomly, of course, multiple synchronicities. Just like shit. 1 degree of separation, 2 degrees type shit. And yeah, within like 12 hours, he had gotten back to me like, hey, no, you're, So it was pretty funny. Shout out to Moon Curse. You guys need to make it on the record, but I doubt you will. But yeah.
That's why this John James Barry Margaret Ann Bulkley thing struck a chord with me, because I was doing the synchromistic research, and Margaret again means pearl, Anne like Anana, like Hannah or Anna, and Bulkley is another way to spell Buckley.
Yeah, I
so
heard
you have
say
the
that.
song to the siren.
Right.
You
got
have
all the
early dewdrops drop.
Yep, I knew you were
and then
going
you
there.
have the
Yep.
James Miranda Stewart Barry. So I'm already researching this. And when I read the line that this person from Ireland, from Scotland area, born Margaret Ann Bulkley, I'm like, am I finding a pattern because I want to exist? So I'm trying to disprove this. And that's why I went down the alien ant farm research library to find the life, work, and gender of Dr. James Barry, in which the conclusion was reached by A.K. Uba.
Let him go.
who
Keep going.
says Dr. Berry had no gross physical or mental disabilities. He was short, effeminate, and may have had ambiguous genitalia. In view of the above brief review, we believe that he was likely to have XY gonadal dysgenesis or was 46XX male. Our conclusion is that Berry was not a woman. Concealment of one's sex for a year or two is probably manageable, but concealment for over 60 years, including 40 years in the British Army, is simply unbelievable. The necessity for concealment of Berry's characteristics must have been a constant burden and source of irritation to him, and this may explain his frequent annoyance and exasperation. We therefore conclude that Dr. James Berry was a hermaphrodite of either 46XX or 46XY dysgenous variety, but proof of our theory can only be obtained if a decision were to be made to exhume the body and conduct DNA analysis. This may settle the question beyond further doubt.
Okay, so where were you citing that? Where are you citing that from? Is that from
Put it
the
in the
newspaper article?
No, this is the research I found from AK Kuba. K.
I see it. I see that. Okay.
Yep.
And was that so when you got the newspaper article,
Mhm.
what is the newspaper article? Why are they bringing this up? Is this like an LGBTQ Pride Month kind of thing, like maybe a feature?
Well, that ties into
Have
it.
you tried to figure that
because
out?
There's the
Okay.
idea of, being a man, being a woman, being ambiguous. And I mention this again because it's in my newspaper.
Right.
And I'm like, okay, this is the
So yeah, the
first
feature
I've
in the
heard of
newspaper,
this.
though, what is the
Because of the new book called The Cape Doctor by E.J. Levy was
Okay.
published recently. There have been a series of books about this James Berry character. And I use the word character because they're writing
right? You can't. Yeah.
him as a fictional character. They're telling us it's based on a true story. I did my homework to find out what is the consensus. The consensus is all across the board until I found a specialist, a register in general surgery, professional unit of surgery, Queen's Medical Center, University of Nottingham, on University of Glasgow Library. They published this information saying that this individual was XY gonadal dysgenesis, 46XX male. If that is the medical opinion of an expert, and then someone publishes a book to say that this was the first transgender person, or this was the first female doctor, and they put a plaque up in their prestigious university to say, we are the university that had the first female doctor.
That's
But we didn't
points.
know it at the time because this individual dressed as a male.
Sure. To cover that up, obviously, because
Did
Lord
you say
knows,
that
can you
it was?
imagine?
Did you say the author was LeVay?
Levy.
Levy.
That's Levy. That's Levy.
Can we look into the background of the author a little bit more and see if there is there any connection to anything, or have they written anything else? I guess, or
all very good questions, and it's a huge research project to determine who at the University of Edinburgh decided to put a plaque down to say that Margaret Ann Bulkley,
Right.
more commonly known as Dr. James Berry, is believed to be the first woman graduate of the University of Edinburgh. In 1810, when Berry entered the university, it was a male-only establishment, and so deception was the only option.
Exactly.
After
That
only
makes
2 years of
sense.
study, and probably at no more than 17 years of age, Berry graduated. So when the
Damn, at
University of
17.
Edinburgh claims that this is the truth after the fact, and I'm trying to find the genealogy of the
Edinburgh's
family.
in United
Scotland.
Kingdom.
Scotland, yeah.
Edinburgh, yeah.
Or Edinburgh. People, I believe it's pronounced, I believe it's Edinburgh. But I could be totally wrong.
Right. So born in 1789 in Cork County, County Cork,
which is Ireland.
Right. And then you have someone with different names. And we're
There's some
trying to
crazy-
establish an actual historical genealogical family tree. Who was the mother? People are adding to the story to suggest that a male, James Barry, had children and that there was visible evidence of cesarean to say that this person had a child.
Right. But cesarean though, at that time, Hail Caesar, by the way.
Sure.
Absolutely.
Was how common were C-sections back then? I
It
wonder.
could have just been that this person gained weight and lost weight.
It could very well be.
There's a
And-
lot of possibilities.
And
But I asked you again, why is the name Stewart attached to this individual? Like
House of Stewart, yeah.
And Lord Buchan, Buchan. And there's all these men who rubbed their magic over this individual person so that this person would identify using their
Baphomet.
names. So there's a huge question here.
I wonder if this was a concerted effort by a perhaps a
magic.
secret society.
Exactly, by magic.
Jim,
Yeah.
you were talking about forged documents. I was nodding my head like this could be an actual example of that in real time.
Mhm.
And if we can uncover the
So is this a
history-
university in Edinburgh that is doing
Yeah, that is
research
university.
team? Is it a research team that is
It's-
writing it? One person is taking all of the research. Like it's an interesting web.
It's very interesting, and I'm trying to untangle it. There is a Dr. Dupreez and a Dronfeld who wrote a document establishing much of this story, this history, or this deception. And when you read through some of the documents, a lot of them allude to the words deception and how this individual was deceptive, and all of these words that seem to raise a wave of doubt in your mind. And when they juxtapose it in a newspaper, you start to think, well, why are they bringing this up again? And we go back to the earliest history. There's something called like a James Barry paper written by an individual with the name of, let me find it. I think her name was, I'll have to find it. But she wrote a book in 1950 talking about some Barry papers that they found. So I trace it back to 1950 as being the first instance of someone talking about a possible transgender individual, or a male to female, or a hermaphrodite. And I'll look for that information.
Okay, so shouting at clouds real quick. What's up, Eddie? He says my family was exiled from Dublin to Cork County, and then the Duke of Edinburgh is the father of Fabian socialism. There you go.
Wow.
That's deep.
Wow.
Good work.
Really?
Good work. That is heavy.
Could it be a Fabian situation? Fabian Society?
I mean,
Couple
tied
fingers in
to
this?
clearly.
Yeah.
I mean, if we look at the dates here,
Yeah.
we've got 1795 to 1865 with this doctor, the specialist registrar. Yeah. A.K. Kuba. Clearly, Fabian, I don't know specifically when they were founded or when they, but I know it's mid to late 19th century.
Right. So I can trace the story back to 1958. There's a book called James Barry, The Strange Story of Dr. James Barry, Army Surgeon, Inspector General of Hospitals, by Isabel, Isobel, Isabel Ray, Rae, published 1958. I'm going back to find it on Amazon or Google Books. And again, it had to be an Isobel, like an Elizabeth. And Ray is like Ra, like son.
Right.
So you already have these names, and they've been planning on making a movie, a biopic. You have an actress, Rachel Weisz,
yeah.
yes, who wanted to play this man. People were complaining in different blog comments saying that you can't have a woman playing a man, or you can't have a man playing a woman.
Get out of here. It's open. It's fair game for this role, I'd say.
Right. So this movie was based on Rachel Holmes' book, The Secret Life of Dr. James Miranda Barry, Victorian England's most eminent surgeon.
Okay, so well, it seems like we've got whoever's got the time, Alan, if you've got some, clearly you've already been doing a fair amount of research on this. It's pretty freaking wild. What was the date you found this again? You said it was like the couple of days. What, last week?
Sunday, June 20th. I found
so it was
newspaper
precisely a week ago.
So the Fabian Society was founded 137 years ago on January 5th.
What year?
January 4th, 1884.
There you go. So 1865. Okay, so we're granted it was founded, so it had to have been.
It was somebody's little twinkle in their eye.
Right. For quite some time, I'm sure, prior to the founding.
It was being talked about way before it was founded.
Absolutely. Because shit, it just doesn't pop up like that, especially of that. And how does it, when you're looking at that, Jim, if you're still on wherever you are looking at it, does it state how many members were like the founding members of the society, or
founders? Edward R. Pease, Pease, Edith Nesbit, Hubert Bland, and Frank Podmore.
Is there a background like how they came together, and like a nice little?
Andrew Harrop was the general secretary. Martin Edobar was the chair, and vice chair Wes Streeting and Catriona Murno. Let's see. Do you want me to read something about it?
Yeah, if there's a.
Today, the society functions primarily as a think tank and is one of 21 socialist societies affiliated with the Labour Party. Similar societies exist in Australia, the Australian Fabian Society in Canada, the Douglas Caldwell Foundation, the now disbanded League for Social Reconstruction in Sicily, Sicilian Fabian Society, and in New Zealand, it's the NZ Fabian Society. They've got a crest. It's a
it's the wolf in sheep's clothing. Yeah, go figure.
Yeah.
I have a connection to the London Royal Academy.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, it's part of it's Royal Society. I mean,
you read the chat here. We got some information from a retired urologist, Dr. Michael Dupreez, who wanted to set the record straight with his research for the New Scientist. Hidden among a large collection of letters, accounts, and legal documents, he found conclusive evidence, don't question it, of Dr. Barry's identity and new information that helped him reconstruct. Again, he was helped to reconstruct much of the doctor's early life. His discoveries leave no doubt, there's no doubt in anyone's mind, Dr. Barry started life in Ireland as Margaret Ann Bulkley, or Buckley, daughter of Jeremiah, a grocer in Cork, and Mary Ann, there's that Ann name, sister of James Barry. James Barry
real pause.
At London's Royal Academy.
Pause. The fact that his father was a grocer. Do you know what the real definition of what a grocer is, guys? I mean, literally.
Oh
Is
yeah,
it
what
in
is
Black's
it?
Law
I think
Dictionary?
I've heard
Can
it
you
before,
look
but
it
I
up
don't
for
It's
us?
remember.
someone that it's someone that literally like takes goods and literally marks them up so much that it's like they're deemed like a freaking rip-off artist, literally. Like, I mean, I'm paraphrasing the actual definition of a grocer, but that's the
Like a
root,
merchant.
but not like unless you're going with this is the actual definition of prestige is not what like it's taking it's basically the classic inversion, and I'm citing actual Clint Richardson on this and the research, some of his research, tying it all back nicely to good old Clint Richardson, who I'm gonna get in touch with so we can discuss this further. But it's the classic inversion again with prestige, and I can't, if someone's got it in front of them, because I don't know how this is even working right now, to be honest with you.
You gotta
But I
check
don't
out
even have.
the early.
I can't even
Fabian
see you
View
guys. So
here.
if
Listen to
someone
the,
can look up the actual definitions of grocer or prestige, feel free. But I don't even know if it's going to give the common day. You know what I mean? Like,
Hey,
not the
probably.
you
Air
know what was
Vulgaris.
interesting? I remember not do you remember those word of the days like calendars?
Yep.
There was like a Victorian unused calendar. I don't know where the hell I got it, but what it was defining as like whatever the Victorian slang was and how it was used today, like that shit's like completely different. It's wrong. Like it has nothing to do with other things. Or you can see kind of the manipulation of it kind of in sometimes in culture, like you can see it something being described as hot, the different definitions of that. You see it in slang, those things changing, but like when the legal definitions start getting involved, it gets fucking weird.
Exactly. That's what I mean. That's where I'm going with that. The legal definitions. When it comes to law, I guess that's where that's what I'm citing here. I apologize. It's so the legal definition of grocer and the legal definition of prestige actually are
if it's in here.
inverted to what their actual current day definitions would be. Grocer, a commercial production as this, thanks Stella, as emotion. Well, that's grocer. Yeah, grocer. I'm speaking like a grocery store. That generates a large amount of income as a motion picture. Oh, wait, so yeah, see, a person who sells food and small household goods, but in law, it's defined. Not actually, but it's like an inversion.
There's aspects.
And I'm speaking colloquially, obviously.
I found it in the Black's Law Dictionary, actually.
What did it say?
Okay.
Oh, right on.
Grocer. In Old English law, a merchant or trader who engrossed all vendable merchandises. And
monopolize, right?
Engrossed is the word. I'd have to look that up to find out what that means.
Yeah.
I thought it meant doubling the prices. I thought
something along
engrossed was like a price fixing thing, wasn't it?
Yeah, it is. Absolutely. So, man.
What happened was this person, maybe we say Margaret, boarded a boat and rowed a boat to become James Miranda Stewart Berry.
Rowed like R-O-W-E-D. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, there's this legend here, this mythology of this person by the name of Margaret, who was very interested in traveling by sea in a boat, in a ship, like a merchant vessel, to cross a body of water to go to Edinburgh to study medicine. There was a promise by a military general to take this individual to Venezuela when there was going to be a revolution, and this place, Venezuela, was going to be filled with freedom and opportunity. But this
Because
General Miranda didn't have the war or the revolution turn out in his favor.
Good old Napoleon.
It was thrown into a Spanish jail
That's
cell.
probably, would that be Napoleonic
Guys,
period?
jeez.
No, it's pre-Napoleonic, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
So this Dr. Dupree's doubts his discoveries will put an end to the speculation. People will probably still argue about this until someone eventually exhumes her remains. Again, pulling out a dead body, examining the remains, and proving once and for all the DNA.
That'll never happen because it would. Think about the outrage from multiple SJW communities and all that would just be like,
Oh my
how
gosh.
dare you, you know? What did
There's
you find?
connections in with both of
Naming
the
a person.
What, James? Go ahead, or Jim? Go ahead.
So I just found in gross, and that what a grocer does, as we were talking about earlier, a grocer, a merchant or trader who engrossed all vendible merchandise, and engrosser. So I looked up engross. Engross, the first definition is to copy the rude draft of an instrument in a fair, large hand, to write out in a large, fair hand on parchment, is the first definition of engross. And the second definition of engross is in old criminal law, to buy up so much of a commodity on the market as to obtain a monopoly and sell again at a forced price.
Damn.
That's what a grocer does.
Mhm.
Yep.
So a grocer copies documents,
Steals your IP.
They make forgeries pretty much. They make them in a large, gross hand, and they create a monopoly,
right,
to become wealthy. And once they're wealthy, they start the Fabian Society, which the first Fabian Society, their views were advocating the tenets of social justice, coincided with the zeitgeist of liberal reforms during the early 1900s, including eugenics. The Fabian proposals, however, were enacted in the liberal reform legislation. The Fabians lobbied for the introduction of a minimum wage in 1906, for the creation of a universal healthcare system in 1911, for the abolition of hereditary peerages in 1917. Agnes Harbin and Henry Devonish Harbin were among the Fabians advocating women's emancipation and supporting suffrage movements in Britain and internationally. And they sound just like the kind of place that would be pushing this idea that a doctor in history might not have been what they said they were, because this would move people in social justice areas.
And at that time, I'm sorry, like I don't see any issue with pushing women's suffrage or anything of that nature, because it seems it's the history that we've been taught, at least, right, would make that a valid fight, if you will, right?
Absolutely.
For sure.
I mean, so
but that doesn't have to be hand in hand with eugenics.
Exactly. Well, and then when we look at eugenics, it was the American university system. I believe mid 19th century. Is like that's where it started here in America. I'm fairly certain. At least that's what the record seems to show. Mm-hmm. This is all off the top of my head, mind you. I don't have it in front of me, but it's just because I remember when I looked into, obviously, the shit the Nazis pulled and blah blah blah. They took a bunch of pages out of our book. You know what I mean? And we're like, oh, look at this.
Is that
And
Peter
just
Levenda Ratline book?
well, that's just a whole nother fun.
Right. So our story is like, we're in Edinburgh, we're in Scotland, we're in UK, but we want to take this individual and bring them to South America, to Venezuela. So
Right.
there's these
But I'm
recurring sort of motifs and ideas in the story of this individual whose name might just mean Margaret, it might mean Pearl. So if you're thinking of the symbolism of the birth of Venus, the clamshell opens, there's a irritant, and it makes a pearl, and the girl is named similar, Margaret means pearl, Bulkley. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
How the synchronistic aspect seems to be possibly based on this original seed or original irritant that created a pearl over a period of time.
Right, as it has
After
to.
the
Yeah,
person
exactly.
died. So it creates a precedent in a narrative, in a story that is being rewritten and rewritten and rewritten. And I'm trying to do the research to go back to the original documents. And when they're trying to claim that they found letters from an individual, and they can verify that the individual who wrote the letter was the same person. And if the person signs the letter as James Barry and then writes on the back, Miss Bulkley, and dates it 14th of December, and then other experts examine it and say, yes, we have all these letters, and we've gathered the handwriting analysis, and we can say that this is the same doctor who used a name in one instance and used a different name in another instance. And this is what we're going on. This is the evidence. It's a letter. Now, how do we prove the letters weren't forged at that very time themselves to be discovered later? I don't have a concern. I don't have any skin in the game. I'm not betting either way. I'm just trying to vet the information, the provenance, the documents, and to say, well, why is it becoming a story of some importance that many different authors have written their own interpretation of a historical timeline,
or fan fiction, as
romance?
Stephen so eloquently put it.
That's absolutely what it is, but they're publishing it with respectable publishing companies. And now they're pushing to make movies based off of this fan fiction of history to say that this is the story of an actual transgender person throughout history, to try to say in 2021, this has happened in the past. It's no different from what happens today. So look back at the past. Be proud of this female doctor who had to disguise herself as a male.
Right.
Who then fought
she must have
for-
been very, very brave. So brave. Oh my goodness, how brave that person is.
Right.
Oh, for Christ's sake. So
Right.
when you were talking and I was moving around, there was an owl on my neighbor's roof just looking at me. I was trying to get a shot of it, but it was just right there. And
They're everywhere right now.
it flew off. And I was gonna go back and see what time that I think I first saw it and see what you were talking about.
Oh, great idea.
Yeah, because Jim, last night.
Dive bombed by one last night.
Yeah, last night. And my
you
dog.
really?
Yeah.
Dude, my dog went crazy when I played it. Because I was like, wait a minute, I can't. What is he doing? Like, what is this video? Because it was so grainy and effed up. And I was like, what is that? And I pressed play. And the dog, my dog literally was like passed out, so sound asleep like she is right now. She popped up from under the covers, and was just like all of a sudden cocking her head, staring at the tab, like just going crazy. And I couldn't, I was like, what? I was like, what is that, Rosie? What is that? Like, I had no idea what it was either.
It was terrifying. last
Yeah,
night.
because it literally
Wow.
sounded like
I can play it for you.
shrieks. It sounded like
Did it-
shrieks. It was frightening. I got
Yeah.
chills, dude. And then
Terrifying, huh?
I replayed it and filmed the dog watching and listening, and she for the second time was like used to it and kind of over it a little bit, right? But was still like, you know what I mean? Like you saw it. I don't know if you guys saw the video or whatever, but it was just what? And she was spooked. Like you could see her like what? Like it was crazy because she'll charge at robins. Robins are everywhere here. Like that's our state bird. So I mean, they're just all over our front lawn and all this. And whenever we go on walks, she just can't. She'll just like charge them. I'm like, they're your friends, man. Calm down. Like, so
Some of it's me.
it's wild. But I mean, they were. It sounded like a shrill. It sounded like there was like a what do they call like a group of them, not of the birds. Like they call a group of birds what? I'm like flotilla.
Parliament.
A parliament of okay, a parliament
Parliament of
birds.
Owls.
Parliament of owls.
If it's owls, it's a parliament.
Yeah, that's what it sounded like.
Yeah.
But it was way frightening, and I had.
You have
Hello?
a parliament.
Actually,
You froze.
Yeah, yeah.
You're back.
oh,
You're back now.
oh, she froze. Oh, okay. I was like, I'm hanging on every word. What?
But I think you froze in my head or my ear. I can't see you guys at all.
okay.
So,
Yeah.
what did you say? Though? I
I'm
missed
getting
it.
tired. It's getting
Yeah, we're getting. Yeah, what time is
late
it?
for the old man.
Yeah, let's
In about-
wrap
It's
it.
like 1 or something.
Yeah.
Let's wrap it up. I think. Can you guys hear this?
In about 115
Oh,
minutes.
12:15.
Tell me.
Yeah.
If you can hear, tell me if you can hear this.
Black spider.
We hear you. We hear the
Yeah.
sound. Yeah.
All right, good.
It's the
Okay,
outro music.
well, then let's get out of here.
Yeah, do we have anything to wrap up? I just showed a poster of a fan-made poster of David Bowie holding a crystal ball, like a pearl, with
Love David
Sarah,
Bowie.
the princess. And remember, David Bowie appears to her through a portal as an owl.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, that's right. He is.
So
Love some David Bowie.
it all comes full circle.
What the big? What the
Damn
big?
right. Too bad
David
Anthony's not here to give
Bowie.
us to drop a ton of Bowie knowledge, but that's for
No
next time.
kidding.
He said he's covered in grease right now, working on his motorcycle. So shout out to Ant.
Zen and
Dude,
the art of
I love that.
motorcycle maintenance.
That useless rock history stuff. That
Right.
shit turns me on, man.
He's a fucking
I
yeah,
love
he's
that useless
he's
stuff.
a dictionary, dude. It's fucking great. So
Love it.
all right, everybody, we love you.
Thanks to
Uh,
Shouting at Clothes for
all right.
chatting with us. And
Yeah,
Stella
dude.
Moon
Thanks,
and
Stella. Thanks for
everyone
everybody
else who is
in the
watching
chat.
silently.
Yep, and listening later. I gotta update a couple. I think I'm a couple episodes behind, so I'll get on top of that ASAP. So tomorrow, all these will be available on whatever podcast you listen to, or however you listen to your podcast. So, yep. Thank you, everybody.
I hope our irrationality was rationalized tonight and we explained ourselves clearly and things are clearing up for us. Our skin is looking great and shiny.
Right. So.
Oh my god, the ASMR is killing me. Okay, bye.
All right, everybody. Have a beautiful
You
evening.
hang
Live
up.
in your
Have a beautiful
mind.
rest of your weekend. We live inside our minds.
Hang up first.
And well,
Live in your
yeah,
minds.
No, you hang up first. No, you hang up first. No, you hang up first. No.
Good night, John Boy.
I swear,
All
Mr. Black Spider.
Oh, Jesus.
Good night, Stella Moon.
I swear, Mr.
Good night, Jim. Good night, Corey.
Jim, you know you're in charge of the
I swear,
the stream. So
Yeah, I'm just gonna leave it on.
was not affected.
all night. Why not, right? But
Yeah.
yeah.
Was not affected.
Good night, guys.
It built a hammock. The spider didn't build a
You have shortness of breath, a fever.
The spider didn't build a web. It built a hammock. The spider didn't build a web. It built a hammock.
The spider can't go within 100 centimeters of the
It
web.
built a hammock.
The spider spider can't go within 100 centimeters of the web.
The hammock. It built a hammock.
Cane spider, the crack cocaine spider, the crack cocaine spider, the cane spider, the crack.
It built a hammock.
The spider can't go within 100 centimeters of the web. The spider built a web, found a mate, and raised over 100 young. But the mate got a restraining order, and now the spider can't go within 100 centimeters of the web. The spider built a web, found a mate, and raised over
It built a hammock. It built
the cat in its ass. Then came up behind it and popped the cat in its ass. The crack cocaine spider figured building webs was for sucker. Waited till the cat in its ass was exhausted and came up behind it and popped the cat in its ass. The cat in its ass. Then came up behind it and popped the cat in its ass. The cat